G'day, Mahar here. In this video, monkey branching. People with borderline personality disorder, monkey branching. Monkey branching occurs when a person in a relationship is considering other options while they're still in a relationship. And it happens with a lot of people with BPD, not all. Monkey branching is emotional cheating at first until the leap between branches, so to speak, is made. And it's flirting with others while in a relationship with the intention, focus on the new person, the intention to monkey branch and not remain in a relationship. There's lots of reasons for monkey branching, but among them, obviously, people with borderline personality are not ever feeling safe or secure in a relationship because they have at best, especially untreated, unless until significantly treated, they have at best a disorganized attachment style, an inability to take in your love, and then devaluations happen, and it's not always one devaluation split and then the whole relationship's over and you're ghosted. That happens, but that's not a pattern that is ubiquitous. And so the thing about monkey branching is people with BPD are very insecure to begin with. The vulnerable narcissist would, this monkey branching would also apply to. When a person really has one foot out the door, people with borderline personality, not all of them, many, like probably a very significant number, monkey branching, because they're not attached and they're not invested in the relationship the way that a lot of people with codependency are in this most unhealthy fit. But there are also people with codependency that have significant fear of abandonment, insecure attachment styles, and people with codependency don't have a secure attachment style. So essentially, the monkey branching person is the dumper or the ghoster. And so this monkey branching is emotionally cheating at first, at least, on the person's current partner. And then they will eventually, or in the case of people with BPD often, quickly, at some point, maybe it's after years of a relationship that's been rocky and off and on and all confusing and everything, but they will eventually leave for someone else. There's a betrayal there. And both men and women with BPD, specifically, can monkey branch and do monkey branch. Monkey branching into a new relationship is very despicable because the brancher has no respect for their partner, let alone for themselves. Doesn't that sound like a lot of people who are untreated with BPD? They don't have respect for you. They don't have respect for themselves. They don't know who they are. They've always got one foot out the door, one way or another. Even in idealization, you're starting and it feels great, but they got a foot lagging behind them. When somebody does monkey branch, it shows that they have questionable moral standards, like they're confused about that. So low moral standards, low self-esteem, low self-worth, and obviously a lot of insecurity. And I would add, so not attaching, fear of intimacy, fear of abandonment. Fear is a destroyer of so many things, and a destroyer of relationships for sure, and largely for those with borderline personality, because their fears are so multiple and multi-layered as they try to be in relationships with others. And this isn't everybody with BPD, but it is a significant growing number of people. And BPD is morphing, and people with BPD today are vastly different than people with BPD 15, 20 years ago were, with regard to all this monkey branching and various other things that are going on, like ghosting, etc. So when somebody is a monkey brancher and they're in a relationship, they're focusing strongly on what they don't like, they're very negative often. And like I said, fear of abandonment, fear of intimacy, people with BPD, inability for intimacy, can't take in your love. And people with BPD don't have a self from which to trust themselves, so they have absolutely really no trust. So the more attention that's given to fear or insecurities, without doing anything to solve and heal and resolve them, the more real they become. And this is so true, unfortunately, for so many people with untreated borderline personality, especially male or female. Borderlines don't attach as a result of all the perpetuating worrying and fears and insecurities. People with BPD are so overwhelmed that they start to look for the quick fixes and remedies, and they externalize out, people with BPD, all of what's happening to them that is dissociatively happening inside, re-experiencing repetition, compulsion, emotional dysregulation, and triggers from the past. They think it's in the here and now, and all they've ever been able to do, because they haven't emotionally matured through the early stages of childhood development, they don't know how to manage anything they're feeling when they get emotionally dysregulated, and so they externalize that out onto you as it has to be your fault. And so then they're going to look for a quick remedy and fix, and they believe that it's you that's causing them all these feelings and triggers, which isn't true. The insecure monkey brancher will remain somewhat, quote, content for short periods of time. Monkey branching, signs of and reasons for. The top 7 reasons why monkey branching happens: low self-esteem, well, add low self-worth, makes it 8, right? Low moral standards, overdependence on others for emotional support, looking for external sources of happiness, projection of fears and insecurities, expecting the new partner to solve internal problems, often stems from childhood. The top 4 signs: how can you know or what to look for if you suspect that that person with BPD might be monkey branching? So monkey branching is a behavior pattern, and it signals an act that people need to keep an eye out for. And it means that a partner is looking for another man or woman, someone else to start a relationship with. It's important to note that all these signals need to be present to indicate that your partner may be partaking in monkey branching. Just 1 or 2 of them might mean it's a possibility that your other half is being deceitful. However, in relationships to people with BPD, not that they're all the same, 1 or more of these might make you start to wonder. The number 1 sign is somebody that you love is the borderline monkey branching, is using the cell phone a lot. And a lot of people with BPD use their cell phones a lot, but like really using their cell phone more than even a lot. It's a key sign that your partner is flirting with another man or woman. If they're on the phone a tremendous amount or even more than usual, because a lot of people with BPD have addictions to Facebook and other aspects of social media. So when you see this excess of phone use that's even more excessive than a lot of people with BPD going on there, likely that has to do with monkey branching, because messages are increasing, and more so than people would message with friends, etc. The difficulty with the sign of using a cell phone a lot is you can't read the messages without invading the person's privacy. The second sign that somebody with BPD is monkey branching is that they're very vague about their whereabouts. So if your partner's being really vague about where they are or what they're up to or what they were doing or where they have been, it could be that they are already starting to see and meet with somebody they've been monkey branching with, say, digitally to begin with. If you think that they're being vague or more vague than usual for people with BPD, it's a way of sidestepping conversations with people with BPD, which people with BPD do anyways a lot. But they're really not wanting to talk about what they're up to or anything that's going on with them, because they're likely monkey branching. And the third sign of monkey branching is they start going out a lot, and maybe they didn't before, and or they go out a lot more. So that's another good sign that now the emotional aspect, at least, of cheating emotionally with monkey branching might be starting to go to the next step. People with BPD will often be lying in general, but they will lie about what they're doing or where they're going or why they're going wherever they're going. It will be a highly suspicious change, even in most people with BPD, the person with BPD that you know in your life. And the 4th sign that somebody is likely monkey branching, the 4th sign is that they become more secretive. So that can be a tough one to sort of suss out if you're with a quiet borderline and they often withdraw and you don't know what's going on with them. And sometimes with a person with BPD that's ghosted you, whether they've monkey branched or not would be hard to know because you don't know what's going on. But so if the person becomes more secretive when they aren't naturally, even people with BPD aren't all the same, they might not be that secretive. So you see an increase in that, or you see them being secretive when they weren't before. This could really indicate monkey branching and already being on to, firstly, emotionally cheating, and secondly, maybe on to meeting that person. Definitely communicating a lot with them via computer or tablet or cell phone. So the other thing too is they could be telling you more about what they're doing, as in lying, so that you won't get suspicious. Sometimes for people with BPD, becoming more secretive means they're going to lie and tell you, well, they have this new friend if they didn't have any friends, or there's this person here, there, whatever, and they'll tell you that that's who they're going to see or meet up with, or that's who they're talking to more on a cell phone or what have you. And they'll just allude to being out with a new friend if they don't have any friends, or a friend, or maybe a family member, and they're busy monkey branching. Monkey branching, of course, with people with BPD, the question, do exes come back after monkey branching? Often they will hoover back, and often people will take them back. And maybe a lot of people don't realize, and some people might, that when they ghost you, and if they're monkey branching, they're busy with the quote grass is greener person over there. And when it doesn't work out, because these relationships don't work out with people with BPD, untreated especially, then yeah, definitely they're going to try to hoover you back. And some people with codependency take people back. And then it's that on and off again, ghosted, reverse hoover, reverse stealth hoover, or they hoover. And you want them back regardless of the fact that they've now monkey branched, not only emotionally cheating, but also physically cheating, literally, totally cheating, and ghosted you, and kind of, quote, ended a relationship with no responsibility, no accountability, and no closure. So the bottom line about this monkey branching is both men and women are capable of being guilty of testing out the waters with another person before breaking up with their partner. And if somebody monkey branches, which means emotionally cheating on you first, and ghosting, with ending a relationship that they really might not have an intention of having it be over, but cheating with someone else, which is maybe not technically cheating at that point, but it still kind of is, because often then they're going to hoover back, or you're going to be reverse hoovering or stealth hoovering or both, and then you're going to come back together. And effectively, these relationships without closure, sometimes it's hard to tell if it ended, or where did it end or didn't it end. And so it can still be more than emotional cheating and be the absolute totality of cheating, for lots of reasons I've talked about in videos before. But I would think that it's very, unfortunately, common with untreated borderlines, with not attaching, disorganized attachment, not taking in kindness or love, fear of intimacy, and all of those other things going on with people with BPD, why they don't see you, and why they're often not very present in the relationship. So in idealization honeymoon phase, you fall in love with that person, they don't really exist. So all this monkey branching, the 4 signs, and the 7 or 8 reasons I gave you for why it happens, but happens often with people with BPD just because of all that they really truly are struggling with. And again, it's inexcusable. There's no excuse for it whatsoever. And many people know, maybe in different language, but they know there's been monkey branching and cheating going on when you've been ghosted, and yet people still want to take these people back. And that's what people with codependency have to think about. So anybody, but particularly a lot of people with BPD, they get involved with another person, and they start, the idealization, the whole thing starts over, while they're still involved with a relationship with someone else. Maybe you've been through this. and they deliberately allow the new person to influence their weak mental state, their emotional overwhelm, all the externalization of things that are their responsibility, and they need to go to treatment to heal. So they're easily tempted to this type of thing because they don't take in your love, they don't, quote, bond, and they don't attach to you. Once they've secured a position with this new person, then they'll be able to do the leap, the monkey branch, into the arms of the new person. For people with BPD, they're not really happy even in idealization. And once the sense of maybe what they thought was happiness disappears, or they just have more experience of triggered emotional dysregulation, etc., that isn't anybody's fault. It's internally happening to them based on their past. They become really anxious, more anxious than even average, and they're tremendously insecure to begin with, so they get even more insecure. So in today's society and world, one of the things about monkey branching is it's easier now than ever before because there's infinite amounts of ways to connect with people from all over the world. And so the rise of the internet, mobile technologies, has enabled people to uninterruptedly stay in touch with whomever they want to, whenever they want to, and be doing this emotional cheating at first, at the very least, if not more, in what is monkey branching. They believe that the monkey branching onto another person will solve all their problems. It's an avoidance of pain, it's radical escapism, and it is highly irresponsible. And in reality, all they do is bring the previous unresolved problems, and all of their problems, of course, that are internal, they think are going to magically disappear with the grass is greener syndrome, but they're going to take them, of course, forward with them because they are so wrong about that. So these are people monkey branching who have never learned to love themselves. People who monkey branch are still emotionally dependent on others. They're so dependent on people to not be alone. People that monkey branch are unbelievably afraid to be alone in the world because they don't know how to be with self. And people with BPD don't have a self. Regardless, borderline personality disorder is no excuse for monkey branching. It is definitely happening with more and more people with BPD, probably more and more women, some men with BPD. So I hope that was helpful, or if it's already happened to you, you gotta think about, are you taking them back? Will you? Have you? Did you? What do you want to do about it now? Because these cycles will repeat. They won't just monkey branch once at all. And every time they ghost, and the on and the off. Not everybody with BPD is monkey branching, but many, many, many of them are. And maybe you don't know what's really the case with that person in your life with BPD or X or on or off. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please click on that picture of me there. And please do so. Support the channel. Click the notification bell so that you can get notification of future videos and live streams. Take care.